Paul and Sarah, the real couple that cares about your Medicare, says that Tony from trcvoiceovers.com is awesome if you want the best voice on the planet for any Audible project. Don't hesitate to reach out to him at tony@trcvoiceovers.com.
We are certainly live in OMG Biz Cafe in the Skyler Network. And now let's see if I don't mess up my entire recording. No, we're not going to try to do that. Okay, cancel. Okay, let me just put up this special announcement before we begin.
It's time for another segment of Mr. and Mrs. Medicare, saving seniors from a high cost of healthcare, debunking Medicare, making Medicare easy to understand for all seniors. All guests of any of the Medicare segments receive the free ebook written by your MedicareLady.com. Here are your hosts, Paul and Sarah Finkelstein.
Thank you for joining me in the Skylerverse. If you've never been in the Skylerverse, I invite you to come as a guest. And first of all, just join me at Skyler.network. And to do that, you can go to omgtalk.com. That's omgtalk.com. And coincidentally, that's going to be the word of the day. No, that is not a word. I know OMG isn't a word, but the word of the day is online. That's the word online spelled out. Meet. MEET, and then greet, GRET. So what do those words mean to you? Online, meet, and greet. And the word of the day are those three words, online, meet, greet, or OMG. So if you happen to get called upon today and you're doing a networking table topic on Monday at 5:30 Eastern time, you're welcome to come in and still participate in the networking table topics. We'll be here probably until 6 o'clock because I am just doing an introductory podcast to drum up some buzz for this time slot on Mondays at 5:30 Eastern time. I'm Paul Finkelstein with OMGtalk.com. Let's also go to our inspiration for today. I have a very special inspiration. If you have not heard it yet, and chances are you have not heard it yet, is brought to you by Jimmy Valvano, the late Jimmy Valvano. And there's one particular thing that Jimmy mentioned in his ESPN talk, famous ESPN talk that you see on YouTube. You can look him up by Jimmy V, I believe. And he was talking that he got inspired when he, a long time ago, by this guy named Bob Richards. Bob Richards was the Wheaties guy from 1958, 10 years before. Well, I want to date myself a little bit, but the Wheaties guy, Bob Richards, in 1958 was the first guy on the Wheaties cereal box. And what he said, and Jimmy Valvano heard this, was the Lord loved ordinary people. The Lord loved ordinary people but he made so many of us. So what's the deal with that? If the Lord must have loved ordinary people because he made so many of us. And I love this other additional quote on top of that. Every single day, in every walk of life, ordinary people do extraordinary things. That's every single day. In every walk of life, ordinary people do extraordinary things. So thank you so much, Jimmy Valvano, the late Jimmy Valvano, for mentioning about what Bob Richards, the Wheatie guy, said back around, probably around that time. But he was on the Wheaties box in 1958. And then I'll usually start off our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm going to stand up, and you probably could stand up as well. And you could recite with me, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much for our inspiration, our pledge, and the word of the day, which is online, meet, and greet. It's 3 words is the word of the day: online, meet, and greet. And now we're going to go to our next topic, but I just want to check here to see if somebody is actually trying to get in to the Skylerverse for the very first time. So I'm just checking my messages in the Skylerverse. and I see that somebody might be joining us now. So we'll hold out and see if he's able to join us. But we're going to continue with the show because the show must go on. But actually, the next step is self-introduction. Make it in time, which I think we have somebody there in the waiting room, as you can see. So I'm going to let him in as well. You're going to have to actually tell me how to say your name. We're in the middle of the show, so I'm going to keep you here on my live. And we have another guest here is Jeff. And we also have a guest all the way from Nigeria. And we have a guest from California. And I am here in Southeast Florida. So an self-introductory phase. So I see that Jeff has his microphone on, but I don't want to butcher your name, but I think it's Ifin Yi Chuck. If you would like to put on your video and turn off your mic, and you could introduce yourself and just say your name and where you're from. And if you're, I see you got your microphone on. Are you able to put on your video? Well, at the moment, then we'll skip to Jeff right now. I think Jeff's microphone's up. He's ready to go. He was ready last week. So if you could tell us your name and confirm that it is Jeff, because I'm reading Jeff, and you probably might agree with me. I saw you before. You look familiar. And tell us what state or country you're in.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Recht. I'm the executive director of the California Healthy Workplace Advocates.
Okay, just your name and the city is great for now. We'll get to that. Oh, good. I see we got some video up. Thank you, Jeff, as well for part of our self-introductions. And then you're going to have to help me and say your name, Ifin Yuchuk. How do you say your name?
It's Ifeanyi Chukwu. Ifeanyi, just Ifeanyi.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, and welcome to the show. And is your English is pretty good? I hope so, because this is the networking part of our meeting. I actually have a timer here that I have to do a little bit of a multitask, and I'm just going to pull up my timer on my phone here, so you could probably see it looks like a timer. And we'll ask about 10 or 13 questions amongst the few of us that are here today, and those people that are listening live on my Facebook profile, my Facebook page, and my YouTube. So that way we have a record of this, and also I'll put it up later, the audio version. This is the video version. The audio version will be on 10 different podcasts like iHeartRadio and Spotify. So let's have some fun and get to know each other, or the people that are listening out there. Just as let's take a little peek. I mean, I had at one time like 27 people listening, but then it's down to 1, then it goes up to 20, then down to 1, then up to 20. I don't know what that means. But anyway, let's get to know each other with some networking questions, because we're not at a bar. we're not at a restaurant. So this is a great way to get to know you, and vice versa, and the people listening later on, whether it's audio or video. So let's start with Jeff. And say, actually, I usually like to say the question, and then that way it doesn't have to be Jeff. It could be somebody else. And I want it to be a little bit of element of surprise, so you can't prepare too much, because it gives you a lot of preparation and impromptu speaking, which you actually get in Toastmasters International. They practice in 145 different countries, and they help people with impromptu. They call it table topics. But here we call it networking topics. So are you working to correct any of your faults? Did I ask you this question before, Jeff? This sounds so familiar. But are you working to correct any faults? I don't even exactly know what they mean by that. But if you don't like this question, you could dive into some neutral question that has nothing to do with your business. But tell us what you were working on in your garage over this past weekend. So, Jeff, tell us, you have a minute and a half. A minute, and I will hold up my golden gavel. And then a minute and a half, I'll hold it up again. At 2 minutes, I'll hold it up again. And you have 30 seconds to wrap up. But the maximum time uninterrupted is 2.5 minutes to talk about any faults that you're correcting, or what happened in your garage this past weekend? Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, first, let me say that I don't have a garage, so it's a little hard for me to work in the garage. Uh, the kinds of faults that I'm working on is more of a societal fault, and that's workplace bullying. We're an organization that is set up to advocate against workplace bullying, and that includes education as to what it is, what the causes are to people, what the common tactics are, all those various aspects of it. And we are right now we're trying to work on getting a law passed that would give people some responsibilities as to how to as employers as to how to handle claims from the employees and keep themselves safe from any litigation.
Oh, okay. Have you completed your talk there? I was just getting you to the 2-minute mark. You had 30 seconds, but thank you for being the first contestant.
Well, let me say this. I could talk for hours on that subject.
Okay, you got 15 seconds.
Basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to eliminate workplace bullying through laws and education to show that how bad and how it ruins people's lives. It's not something that
That's
is
going
funny
down.
like it, like the kids laugh at it when somebody does it on the playground, but it's really much more serious than that.
I know that's a serious topic. I'm going to give you a thumbs up for bringing it up, and that's the end of this particular round for you. We'll go to our next contestant with our next question, and Ifinachuk, I'm going to say the best I can say, Ifinachuk.
You can just call me Faith. You can call me Faith if that's hard for you.
Faith? Faith?
Yeah.
Okay, Faith. So, if you could take a cruise anywhere around the world, where would it be? Or you could talk about your garage, if you have one. Or you could talk about if you had a dream to go on a cruise, where would you take a cruise? If you even heard of, have you had friends that ever been on a cruise before? You saw on the internet a big cruise boat. Tell us about either a cruise or something that happened in a garage that you learned how to do something. Yeah, 1 minute. Go ahead.
Okay, so if I should want to go on a cruise, I think I would love to go to. I think I would love to go to the United States. Yeah, because I would love to see, what the world has to offer. I would love to see the advanced technology that they have there, the culture, the way of life, the way they live their life in the United States, and learn from the people there. And yeah, so basically, I just want to see how, I just want to see what the world has to offer and be able to learn from people the unique ways in which they do things and why they do things the way they do things. Yeah.
And thank you for that. That's about the 42nd minute mark. And usually my minimum time for an impromptu talk is about 1 minute. So Jeff is obviously a pro and he could talk for 3 hours. So I really appreciate that you got to like 40 seconds is great. If you might have heard of Toastmasters International, that's been in 145 countries around the world, and they help people work on impromptu speaking. And I'm doing exactly the same thing in our networking topics, only they call it table topics, so that you could actually get practice as a business leader here. Let's go to our next topic, but now it could be three people because it could be, I'll throw myself into the loop there, and it could be either me, Paul, and by the way, Fitz, I think I'll say Fitz, is where are you, since you mentioned United States, where are you right now? In what country, city?
Okay, so I live in Nigeria.
Okay. There are a
Yeah,
lot of people live
that's in
over there,
Africa.
right? There's a big
You said?
population. That's a big population in Nigeria,
Yeah. It's a large population.
like millions. A lot
Yeah,
of you.
yeah.
All right.
Over
So,
200 million people.
wow, I knew it was like a lot. I was going to say a couple million, but not really. But a couple 100 million. So that's no serious joke over there. Let's. I'm going to try to turn my box around here of questions. Let's see. Who taught you to drive? Who taught you to drive? I'll take this question. Sounds like an easy question. When I learned to drive when I was 16 years old, my dad took me to a parking lot, a big parking lot at a local community college in north of the George Washington Bridge in New York, where I grew up. And in that big parking lot on a Sunday morning, there were no cars in that parking lot because it was a community school, so nobody slept at that community college. Didn't have dormitories or anything like that, and it was just a 2-year school. But there was nobody in the lot, so I guess he felt safe to put a 16-year-old driver for the first time that was legal to be able to have a permit to be able to practice driving. And I got a chance to just drive over every single parking space and every single line, and then he would tell me to stop at that line. And every other line was a stop sign, and he really wanted me to practice what stop signs meant. It's probably a good thing, right? Otherwise, I might not be here today if I didn't know what a stop sign is. So that's about the minute and 5 minute mark. If you like that question, you could tackle yourself, or what sounds do you most like to hear when you wake up in the morning? What sounds do you like to hear when you wake up in the morning, Jeff?
Well, I had a little more complex teaching on driving. My father taught me how to drive with an automatic, and once you know it, the first car he bought for me was a 5-speed manual, and I had to have my brother teach me how to drive that. And we didn't go to a community college. We went to a university that was up the street. Today it's called San Diego State University. At that time it was called Cal State San Diego. And it's part of the state university's level. California has both a UC and a state university, and the UC is more of a research university, whereas the Cal State University system is more of a teaching university.
That's the 1 minute and 30 mark. So you got 30 seconds plus a little bit to go if you like to, or you could stop.
Well, I can tell you one thing. When I got my license, my father took me up to the 405 freeway in Los Angeles, between Long Beach and downtown Los Angeles, and we happened to hit it at about 5 o'clock. And he pulled off to the side and he says, okay, you think you know how to drive? let me see how good your knowledge is of driving. And he had me get into the driver's side with, I don't know if you've seen Los Angeles, rush hour traffic, but you might as well be on a giant parking lot that's 5 lanes wide going each way. So
they
that
were
was
going
my
really
test.
slow. They were going really slow, right?
Heck, they weren't moving.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And we'll go on to our next question here for our next contestant. What's your favorite memory? What's your favorite memory from any decade? Do you have a favorite memory, Fitz?
Yeah. All right. So my favorite memory is spending time with my family. I think there was a time we traveled to one of the states in Nigeria, and we just we stayed in a hotel, and we just talked, we laughed, and we visited some family members, and it's just my best memory because that was the time that I spent with all my siblings. That was like one of the times that we spent together as a family, and it's something that I would want that to happen again. But as it stands now, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So that's literally like my best memory. Like it's something that when I think about it, I'm always like, it makes me feel happy. Yeah.
Right. That's great that there's happiness all the way over in Nigeria over there.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Our next topic up is what's your favorite quote? What is your favorite quote? I guess I should tackle this one. I'm Paul Finkelstein from the Delray Beach, Florida area, and my favorite quote, I'm just starting the timer. I want to make sure I multitask and I don't overtime myself as well. My favorite quote, sometimes my favorite quote is a 10-letter word. And sometimes, a 10-letter word. It's 10 letters that are two, it's 10 words that are 2 letters each for 10 letters. How about that one? Okay, I got through it. But there's also 4 words that are also my favorite too, and they're both like a pep talk. The first one is, I think Dale Carnegie said it, which is, if it is to be, it is up to me. 10 2-letter words. If it is to be, it is up to me. And then the other one is 4 words, which are you can do it. You can do it. And that's 1 minute right there. Okay, I made it. Next is, if you were given 2 50-yard line tickets to any game, I guess they're assuming football, in history, which would you see, Jeff?
I would have liked to seen the first few Super Bowls with the Green Bay Packers, with Bart Starr as the quarterback.
That would be something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a short, sweet answer. Let's go to, what's the best meal that your mom ever cooked? And if it's not your mom, is it your dad? Or maybe it's you. What's the best meal that you ever cooked or ever had cooked? Fitz?
Okay. So the best meal, my mom. Let me. I'm gonna use my mom. So it's a traditional dish here in Nigeria. So we call it black soup, right? So, and I guess you guys will not know how you won't know anything about our native dishes. So it's one of my favorite meal, and it's so nice. It's so that's like that's basically it.
Black soup. So there's like black beans in there, I'm assuming, maybe? Or something
No, they
else.
use like there's a kind of leaf. They use 2 different kind of like plants to like make it. It's especially of plants they used to make the soup. Yeah.
Excellent. Did you
Yeah.
have soup today?
Not really. Today I had rice. Yeah.
All right. Okay. And our next topic up is, who would you choose to play the main characters in the movie of your life? It would be really interesting if I had to pick only the people that were in this room here, this virtual space, to be the main characters in the movie of my life. So, Jeff, you get to be me in the early years when I was younger and a baby and teenager in high school. And then, Fitz, you get to be me when I was 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and then beyond. And you could even play me when I get to be 80 and 90 one day, hopefully. Knock on wood. Not there yet. So between the two of you, you could, one of you, the old Jeff, I was going to say the older one, but, it just kind of looks obvious. I'm not bullying here. I'm just saying, I see you have more gray hair than Fitz there. All right. I'm going to stop there before I get into trouble. I'm almost at the 1 minute mark. And I'll go to, where have you seen the most beautiful sunsets, Jeff?
Ooh, that's a toughie.
Really?
Well, I've seen some fantastic sunsets in Mombasa. I've also seen some fantastic ones in the Mediterranean area. I've seen some fantastic ones in on the West Coast in Santa Barbara and San Diego. That's about it.
Excellent.
That I can think of.
When you say fantastic, were there specific colors, like lots of oranges or other colors?
They're all different.
Plenty of clouds and mixed with that, so they were just spectacular.
No, I didn't see a whole lot of clouds, but going back to the colors, they were all different types of colors.
And what's amazing is that my running partner, one of my friends, he always follows the Orion's belt. That's those 3 stars all in a line, and it goes like all the way up and down the sky. And he says eventually it's not going to be seen anymore. Soon it'll be on the other side of the world from us, maybe closer to you, Fitz. But he says that those Orion belt stars are bigger than our sun. So I wonder, what the sunsets are like, maybe in another galaxy somewhere. Who knows? But Jeff, thanks for participating with the sunsets. Did you have a last thought before we go to the next question?
No.
Okay. What do you love about your hometown, Fitz? What do you love about your hometown? And what's the name of your hometown? Because you don't live in Nigeria. Your city is called what? And we probably don't recognize the name. But go ahead and humor us and tell us the name of your city.
Okay, so I live in Asaba, Delta State. Yeah. And what I love most about my hometown is because it's quiet. It's like a small town. So literally everybody knows themselves. Like everyone knows each other. So it's a small town and it's quiet, it's peaceful, it's secure, it's safe, it's not loud. I don't like loud, busy places. So it's just a town it's just for me. Yeah. So that's what I love the most about my hometown.
But it's pretty small, but you have internet, and it's better internet where you are than some people that are 2 minutes away from my house. Go figure.
Wow.
But what is the name of your internet provider in your town?
Well, it's called MTN. Yeah, that's what we call it here, MTN.
Okay. Is that like the phone company or the cable company or
Yeah.
something else? Okay.
Yeah.
The cable company. And then Jeff, what do you like about your hometown?
Well, for one thing, its nickname is the City of Trees. Well, that's Sacramento. My hometown that I was originally born in was San Diego, and I left because the city got too big, amongst other things. When I was growing up, San Diego was more of a cross between a rural farm town and a metropolitan area. They had truck farms and dairies in one of the prime locations of the city. And it wasn't until I was 16 that I finally had to see the inside of a supermarket, because up until that time, we were getting our dairy products and our vegetables all directly from the farms. So, never did I experience it until I was a teenager in a supermarket.
Excellent. Okay, let's go to, I might as well round out that question. I think we'll go to our next part of our meeting, which is going to be interesting. And that's to get you guys to all talk about your passions, if you have a business or just what your hobbies are. And you could talk for 7.5 minutes uninterrupted, and we'll each get a turn. I'll challenge you to talk for 7.5 minutes. You think it's a long time versus giving a speech for an hour or 1 minute like you just did. So I guess I should round that off by saying that what I like about Delray Beach is that we're 6 miles away from the beach right behind me. Sometimes people see my background on a virtual platform and they think that I'm sitting on a boat because they see water back there. Maybe I'm on a houseboat and it's flat or something. I don't know if this makes it look like a boat, but I made this virtual platform like a beach resort, because behind us there's cabanas down by the beach, and then we have an open air theater with a pool behind it and a podium right in the middle where we are at, meeting virtually instead of having to meet in a Zoom meeting. That's boring, right? I wanted something more custom, more interesting. So I like the beach, and it's 6 miles away, and I didn't even start the time, so silly me. I probably should end soon, because like Jeff, I'd probably get me going and I have to hit the brakes and not use up all the time. But love the beach, 6 miles away, and that's why I made this into a little beach resort, like a convention, because certain professions like accounting and lawyers and other fields and maybe biotechnology, they have their conventions at places like Las Vegas or beaches of the world. So why not have a virtual beach where we can have a mini convention and meet people? So now I'm going to restart my timer for 7.5 minutes. And I'll call upon you guys if you'd like to. If you want to participate, Fitz, I'm putting you on your spot, because I know Jeff is ready to talk for about 3 hours, but we're going to stop him at 7.5 minutes, if you don't mind, Jeff, because you don't have all night. Fitz doesn't have all night. I don't even know what time zone it is over there, but he knows it's 5:30 Eastern here because he got here fairly on time. So we'll start, and I'll even include myself I'll practice a 7.5 minute talk as well. So you ready, Jeff?
Sure.
Okay, great. I hope you ask us a great question in the beginning and to really draw us into your speech, or however you do it, and then give us some nuggets to chew on, maybe a personal story. You saw somebody that was bullying, perhaps. I know what your topic is, generally speaking. You always like to give us hints of it during the networking topic part. So take it away, Jeff, from not San Diego, but somewhere else, Sacramento. I think it's Sacramento, California.
Sacramento, yeah.
Right. So Jeff from Sacramento, California, and we met on the Skyler.network at omgtalk.com. Take it away, Jeff.
Well, how many people really know that NIH declared workplace bullying a cancer on the workplace in this country? In
Did not know
fact,
that.
they did so in 2023. The reasons for that is that people get traumatized from being bullied, and the traumatization can lead to all kinds of dark things that people have to experience. One of the biggest issues is that they'll start off with shame and anxiety, and the anxiety comes from the fact that they don't want to come to work. They feel they don't understand why this is happening to them. And the reality is, this is our best workers that this is happening to. The real problem is that there's some long-term effects with this. There's short-term effects with this. People get PTSD from it. They get complex PTSD. They get post-traumatic embitterment syndrome from it. They can get depression. The depression can lead to suicidal tendencies. And then on the physical side, maybe 20, 30 years after it's happened, they can get heart ailments. They can get strokes. They can get cancers from the stress of it. And then there's the effects that happen to the families that, believe it or not, this is not held in our statistics on workplace bullying, because it's all under the table, so to speak, and it's really hard to quantify unless the people are open about it, which typically they're not. And that is that if you figure that most workers have families, anywhere from 1 to 2 or 3 kids at home, it's felt by everybody in the family. So the kids can get PTSD. It can lead to the kids having alcoholism, taking drugs, and all these other things that we see as societal ails. It's really ruining our society as a whole. So it's not a funny thing. It's really serious. And
You're coming up at the halfway mark. That's all that was. You have plenty of time.
oh, okay. So the other thing is, back at the workplace, it creates a toxic environment. And so people are in a toxic environment. People are coming in, they're going. And in the meantime, the quality of the employees are getting less and less good. And the result is the employer gets a reputation for not having a good place to work, work with or work from. And so the result is, as people leave, the employer spirals down in the quality of work. And with their reputation, it gets harder and harder for them to get turn that around. With that, all these things in mind, we have come up with a prescription that we are trying to get the legislature in California to pass a law that says when you take on an employee, you've got a duty of care for that employee. And when there's a claim, that it be fairly investigated. No retaliation from the employer over the claim. Also, the employer has to have policies that describe how people should behave in the workplace. And if they enforce those policies, they should enforce them. And if they follow all those things and stick to the letter of the law with it, the employer can be exempt from any lawsuits over a bullying case. And however, the bully would not be exempt, and thus the employee could actually sue the bully for damages, because there are real damages to somebody that's bullied in the workplace.
And your last thoughts are? For now.
My last thoughts are, we need to get rid of this scourge forever.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Give Jeff a round of applause. And for those people that actually ever been to a Toastmaster meeting, if this was a Toastmaster meeting, which is not, you would get extra applause, and they get us practice for the real world. But here, we'll just applause out of respect for Jeff for getting the guts to leave the ruts and giving a 7.5-minute uninterrupted talk here at OMG Biz Cafe. Next up, I'll reset the timer to 00. And Fitz, you want to play along, and maybe you could talk to us. You have like 4 minutes, and I usually wave my gavel, and then at 5 minutes I wave my gavel, and then at 6 minutes I wave my gavel, and then you have about 30 seconds to wrap up, so you can actually get up to about 7.5 minutes maximum if you get excited about a particular topic. So if there's something there a particular event that's exciting down there in your city, or something that happened recently that was exciting, that made you happy, like there was 500 gallons of your mom's favorite soup that would help feed the village or something, and you could talk to us about that in 7 minutes. 500 gallons is a lot of black soup. But tell us about something like maybe one of your favorite subjects in the school, and why it's your favorite subject, or if you have something else you want to talk about for 7.5 minutes that could inspire small businesses and entrepreneurs around the world. Go ahead.
Okay. So first, okay, this is going to be very difficult, so but I'm going to try. So first, I want to I think what Jeff and the whole guys are doing is actually very nice, because this is something that a lot of employees experience here in Nigeria as well, and there is literally nobody to fight for them and stand up for them. Is literally like, if you don't want to do the job, you get sacked, and someone else is going to do it, irrespective. Nobody cares about your mental health and what you're going through and everything like that, as long as you're getting paid. Like that's the most. That's what they care about. Get paid and do the job, and it's really sad anyway. Well, um, so what I want to talk about anyway, it's I think I'll talk about my passion, what I love doing. Yeah, let me talk about that. So I think I discovered that I'm someone that I love working with data. Yeah, I love anything that has to do with data and artificial intelligence. Yeah, and I discovered my passion for this. I think that was 2023. Yeah, 2023. That was I worked at as an intern, an AI research intern at National Information Technology Development Agency. It's a an organization in Nigeria here, in the capital in Nigeria. And I got to improve my skills on Python a bit. Python. I learned how to use Python to do a bit of data analysis, how to clean data, um, how to manipulate data, how to use data to tell stories and to give meaningful insights and things like that. And I also learned how to build machine learning models as well. Yeah, I learned how to build prediction models. Yeah, and computer vision models. And one thing I learned from my experience at the as an AI research intern was um, I think is the great mindset that failure is not necessarily the end. Failure is actually an opportunity to try again, to strategize and try again. Yeah, because why I say this is during my time there, I was assigned to work on a project, a computer vision model, and it was something that I've never done before. I had literally no idea about it, and I was really surprised. Like, and I told my facilitator, like, why would you give me something like this? Like, I literally don't know how to go about a project like, and he was like, oh, I should just go and I should do my research, and whatever I come up with, it's fine. And I did everything I could. I tried to get the work done before the deadline, and it wasn't successful, and I felt very bad. I felt very, very bad, and I was like, why? But I talked to my facilitator, and he told me like, oh, like I should try again. That he's gonna give me like extra time to like try again and do the project and everything. And so I did my research, and I usually came up with something, um, and I was able to work on the project. It's actually like a object detection, like for traffic scene. Yeah, traffic scene rules, object detection. Yeah. So basically, what it does is that it literally sees an object and it tells you, oh, this is a bicycle, this is a pedestrian, this is a car, and this is crosswalk and other things like that. Things you would see in a traffic scene, and the whole essence of that model was to build like an autonomous vehicles. Like I think we have Tesla cars that does that, like self-driving cars. I don't know. We don't have things like that here in Nigeria. Yeah. So that's where like a model like that can be applied. So at the end of the day, I was able to work on the project and build the model to the the required specification, right? And I felt so proud of myself. I felt so happy. I was able to do something like this, and at the end of the day, I just realized that whatever you put your mind to, whatever it is that you put your mind to, no matter how difficult it may be, as long as you keep trying, every single day, you keep working on your goals and everything, you're definitely going to grow. You definitely see growth. You're going to see progress. Yeah, so that's what I learned from that experience.
And I want to
How many minutes?
give you a congratulations. I was letting you just speak and speak just to get comfortable. I don't want to scare you too much with the time, but you're at 5 minutes and 40 seconds. That's 5 minutes and 40 seconds. And so it's past the halfway point. I usually warn people. I don't know if I put up my gavel at 4 minutes and then I would have put it up again at 5 minutes. The next time would have been another 30 seconds more to get to 60 minutes, to get to 6 minutes. So you were almost at 6 minutes. And then you would have had 30 seconds to wrap up. So you were right in the middle, which was a perfect time for a speech that has been that they practice giving, helping you do speeches at Toastmasters International in 145 countries. I know Nigeria has Toastmasters clubs over there. The average club is 20 members. That's it. So everybody gets a chance to practice with impromptu speaking and actually giving speeches that are 5 to 7 minutes long. So our next topic up. Thank you. Let's give Fitz a round of applause. Thank you. Here's your applause. Okay, I'm clapping. Okay, and then I'll set the timer for 4 to 6 minutes, or 4 or 5 and 6, and 30 seconds to wrap up. And this guy, Paul Finkelstein, the guy that's been holding the microphone for this entire meeting, and then I had to put it on mute. So I think maybe Jeff might have heard me a couple of times when I was trying to switch hands or something, so that was getting a little bit hard to hold it at one point. So Paul is in Delray. He's been here for half of his lifetime, and then the other half of his lifetime, he was north of the George Washington Bridge and a little bit upstate New York, but not really that much upstate. Some people think that north of the George Washington Bridge is Canada, but it is not. It's still about 7 hours till you get to Canada from there, or 7.5 hours. I know because I did that drive from New City, New York, which is not to be confused with New York City. New City is a town. It's in Rockland County, among other towns called Spring Valley or Muncie or Nyack, rather, or Haverstraw is actually a town in Rockland County as well. Haverstraw and Stony Point were the two areas that were closer to the Hudson River that I drove all around with my permit, trying to please the driver's ed instructor. That was in addition to my learning how to drive with my father in a parking lot that you guys heard earlier. So now I'll bring Paul up on the stage. And that was just the introduction, by the way. And actually a good speech, so you know, is you give the presenter some kind of introduction, so it sets up the person. So you feel like you know him a little bit more than just what they're going to talk about. Today's topic theme is going to be comfortable. Some people are comfortable and they're giving speeches, and some people are not. Some people are comfortable with their jobs, and some people are not. Some people are still looking, and some people are not. Some people get comfortable. I wanted to start off by talking about something completely different than my main point at hand, but it involves the word comfortable and how the word comfortable, maybe not how it came about, but I don't know how do you say comfortable is the language called Nigerian in Nigeria, or is it a certain language there? How would you say comfortable in your city, Fitz? The word comfortable, do you have it?
So we have different languages to speak here in Nigeria. Yeah. So
how would you say the word comfortable?
Okay, you can just say JJ. Let me just put it like you can say, yeah.
JJ? So JJ
Say
means
JJ.
comfortable in your language?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Kind of.
And I was with this Russian and this Israeli together on a farm, and I was
Yeah.
going to learn how to milk cows. And of course, we probably have plenty of farms here, but I didn't grow up on a farm. I was more in the suburb earlier and far from a city, but in the suburbs. And I did not grow up on a farm, but I was one summer on a farm with an Israeli who was also Russian, and he didn't speak any English. And he wanted to teach me how to milk cows. And it was modern time version of, do you have cows near where you are? Any of you two? Fitz, Jeff?
Yeah, we do. We
You have
do.
cows?
Yeah. We
Do they
do.
have the high technology when you milk cows? Because like in the farms, like the Amish, I would imagine they also have. I don't know if they have modern day equipment because they might do it the old fashioned way, where you actually have to squeeze the udder like this to get it to go into the pail, the milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to call that fresh squeezed.
Freshly squeezed for a good reason,
Fre-
right? Um,
Right.
so I did not have that experience because the farm I was on, they had a modern version where you actually hook up the udder to this plastic gizmo that was hooked up to a hose that went to where the milk went. So I had to actually hook up the udder to this plastic device, and then it would milk for me. And then when it's ready, somehow it knew to unhook. I guess the cow maybe it senses the sensitivity of the. And then what we had to do was this Russian had to teach me when I didn't know Russian and I only knew English that I should take this thing off and then take this other plastic device and put it on the cow that had iodine in it or something so that it would soothe the teat of the udder of the cow.
Well, it's done to keep them from getting infection.
Right, exactly. And to use the theme of my talk here, do you think maybe the cow was comfortable with this device hooking up to it? Who knows?
I
If he
doubt.
was, because cows
No,
don't
nope.
speak. And if you were a cow and someone came along and put that to you, you probably would be uncomfortable. But the end goal was so that the town and the community could have milk because somebody came up with some slogan probably that said that milk does a body good. Well, that's not even the main theme of this talk. If milk does a body good or not, it's just something whether you put in cereal, or you believe in having cereal and milk for your breakfast, or do you believe in putting milk in your coffee, or do you have hot chocolate with milk, or do you make maybe your mom made something with the black soup that had milk in it, perhaps.
No, we don't put milk.
You put milk in anything, something else, of course. So he taught me how to milk cows. But before doing that, he had these boots on. And I didn't realize, because I didn't grow up at a farm, that the stuff on the ground around 50 to 60 cows was not mud. I thought it was mud. Like I thought it was a farm. It's, mud. But it was poop. It was a lot of poop. And apparently cows make plenty of this poop. So he wanted me to wear these boots. And I said I had a shitty, pardon my French, I had a shitty pair of boots. I had a pair of sneakers that I could throw out and I didn't care. And I had jeans that went down to my sneakers. And if it was bad and I went 3 feet into this poop, I could just throw it out and wash up in the shower. And I said comfortable, meaning my shoes were comfortable. And all he could say back to me was comfortable. And I said comfortable. And he said comfortable. And when you don't know the language that they know and they don't know the language you know, we just kept saying one word back and forth. But I thought it was kind of comical and interesting to maybe tie into a story and the fact that it was the word comfortable that I actually used. And fast forward to like at least 20 plus years, a little bit more, I met somebody in my local town over here, and the mother was living with this husband and wife who were friends with my wife, and then, of course, friends with both of us. And the mother only spoke Russian. So I felt like it reminded me back then when I was with this Russian on this farm learning how to milk cows, and he kept saying the word comfortable with me, that I said to the mother-in-law of our friend, or the mother as well, I said, can you tell me how to say the word comfortable? I just couldn't resist. Of course, I didn't get into maybe she could teach me how to milk cows or something and talk to me in Russian. So I just said, just tell me, how do you say comfortable in Russian? Maybe that might appease me or something and make me laugh, or she get a kick out of it. Of course, she got a kick out of it because I wanted to learn Russian and she wanted to teach me. And we started with the word comfortable, and I said something like dublave or dubla something, or Google it and tell me if you can pronounce what comes up in how do you say comfortable in Russian? And I don't even remember. I should like write down the phonetic again and try to tackle it. But I just think it's just too comical that I couldn't say it, and the fact that I met somebody else that didn't know English, and yet it was hard enough as it is for the husband of the wife, whose mother-in-law was living with them, that he couldn't communicate with her in any format whatsoever. So he didn't seem like, I would have, if I was in that situation, I would have, enrolled myself right away into some online Russian class for beginners. But that's just me. Now I fast forward to modern day Paul today, and I don't have a whole lot of speaking time because I went right into past 7.5 minutes by a bit. So I did pass, so now you know what the time looks like, Fitz and Jeff, that I went to 7.5 plus minutes, like 15 seconds past that. But I will just give you like just a taste of where I was going to end it, which was that people are consumed with the word procrastination, I think, in some people's lives. And they either put things off or they put things off indefinitely and things never get done. And then there's this thing called mediocrity, where here's my best example. I drew a circle on an index card, and the middle inside smaller circle is a dollar sign in it. And that's your income circle of how much money you make and everybody makes. Everybody makes what's inside their income circle. And then outside that circle is dreams. And nobody ever gets to the dreams because they're so busy with time. Like either you have more time or you have more money. In order to get more money, you have to spend more time. And you're playing this vicious back and forth between going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home. And you're only getting as far as that income circle. And to get to the dream circle, sometimes mediocrity and procrastination just seem to get in the way of your dream circle. And most times success, bigger success than just getting a job, is to get to that dream circle, and it's outside of your income circle. So that in mind, if you know anybody that would like to get some help getting to that dream circle, this is what I was going to end on this, which is the definition that I love of success, which is success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream. Success is, to me, not the worthwhile endeavor of a job. I think that success of a boss is you working at that job for the rest of your life for 40 years. And then you made your boss's dream come true and you got a little bit of cash. And of course, maybe you made a living. But if you know someone that wants to kick it up a notch, like a famous old-time cook used to say, I think his name was Emerald Agassi, he'd say, kick it up a notch. And if you know someone that wants to kick it up a notch and achieve more than just a job, because sometimes they say that job is JOB, the initials for just over broke. And if I think that I'm really humbled by the term entrepreneur, of what it takes to be a business owner instead of the employee, which is an interesting topic for the future. But next up on the agenda is to go around the room and say what you liked about our meeting or what you learned from our meeting. So if you liked something or learned something, take a few moments, 45 seconds for each one, and tell us what you liked about our meeting or what you learned today at our meeting. And then bring a guest next Monday at 5:30 Eastern time. And I'm also streaming this on my Facebook, my personal, and my one Facebook page and a YouTube. So maybe that might help us get an extra guest between now and next Monday. But Jeff, you could start and tell us what's one thing that you learned or two things you learned from today and two things that you liked about this meeting.
Well, I always like to listen to people from other countries and find out what their views are on various subjects. I've been a world traveler when I was younger. I spent a lot of time in various countries studying the cultures and the people. And I always found that, the news that we get in this country is just a small slice of what's really happening in the outside world. And we should all pay attention to the outside world more. What I like about your format is that it keeps us on our toes and trying to speak on maybe a complex subject in a short period of time to give people a summary of what we're all about.
And thank you for that. How about Fitz? Tell us maybe one thing that you liked about our meeting and one thing you learned. Anything come to mind?
Yeah, what I loved about the meeting is the fact that I get to talk more, because I'm someone that I don't like talking for long. Like, let me just put it like that. So the fact that I was able to talk and do something that I have not done before, try something new and be with experienced people and learn from them as well. It's something I'm really happy doing.
Excellent. And I'll add to the last part of that question before we wrap up, which is, I don't think you can see this unless you're on my YouTube, which at omgtalk.com, there's a link at the top right that says YouTube, so you could share it with people as well. And I'm putting on the screen something that one of the three things that I learned from this meeting is to inspire global small business owners, but not just me, but whoever comes and talks, either the first part of the meeting with the networking topics where we get to know each other, and then the 7 minutes interrupted time or thereabouts or close to it. And then the second thing is networking topics that are so valuable that you could practice and have fun, and learning how to do impromptu speaking, because the impromptu speaking is not really meant to stump anybody, and halt them on their feet. It's to just give them practice with interview questions, or give you practice if you're ever going to be on a podcast like this, or practice on YouTube as well. These are just the skills that we could all use more practice with. And then the third thing is the speaker coaching from a distinguished Toastmaster like myself, or someone that's given 3 speeches here or at Toastmasters, could help me in offering some complimentary coaching here right at omgtalk.com. And I'm going to give you a sample. So if I were to give and set a 2-minute timer, and instead of doing one for all 3 of us, I'll hit the clock and say, fellow small business owners, entrepreneurs, most welcome guests. Today we had Jeff and Fitz here. Jeff from Sacramento, California. Fitz from Nigeria. I don't remember his city, but I know his mom makes a hell of a great black soup. If you haven't tried black soup from Nigeria, you got to hook up. I'll hook you up with Fitz. And then I'm from the Delray Beach area. And we are all giving speeches virtually in a beach resort here in the Skylerverse. If you've never been to the Skylerverse, just go to omgtalk.com and click on one of the links to get in, make a profile. If you have a LinkedIn profile, it's so easy to do. But I want to make sure that I give a couple of words of advice for speakers. And that's because we're in these squares. Before I even get into like a tip to improve, I have to start off with some compliments, because I want these speakers to come back. And if I tell them 6 or 7 things as a blunt critique a speaker's not going to want to come back. And that's like a hint for middle management at Fortune 500 companies that when they have their weekly reviews, usually you want to start off with 2 or 3 things that the employee did really well. And then have like one tip to improve, and then end on a high note and give them 2 or 3 things that they did really well. And that's called the Oreo cookie method or sandwich method for evaluations that Toastmasters has done for over 101 years this past October. Jeff and Fitz are probably the most optimistic people on planet Earth because they came here and I didn't hear one complaint whatsoever during this entire meeting. And Fitz even managed to crack a smile all the way from Nigeria. So thank you for that. It was great to do, and it didn't cost us a penny yet anyway. Of course, though, I wouldn't mind a tip or 2, but you don't have to. This is a free meeting at OMG, but there are ways to thank me as well. So bring your smile, bring your optimistic attitude, and here I'll give you a couple of tips, and that is that because we're in these squares, it's always great to try to help us stand out and make our speech and better and impactful than the next guy. And to make yourself stand out, one way is to adjust your vocal variety. Actually, try to be more awake than you feel at the moment. It might be early in the morning, it might be late in the day, and you might have just come from sitting in traffic in LA or something for 3 hours, and you're just worn out. And if you need to do some jumping jacks before you're going to give a speech, I highly recommend doing some jumping jacks before a speech to get yourself pumped up, because the last 4 letters of the word enthusiasm, the last 4 letters are I am sold myself, or IASM. And so I am sold myself, or the last 4 letters of the word enthusiasm. And if you're sold yourself on your topic, I think you could probably get your message across in a whole lot better light by being more enthusiastic, even if what you're talking about is probably it might not be exciting topic. It might be depressing. It might be hard for people to handle, but I think that the message has to be a little bit more exciting on all of us. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. So I would love to see definitely more enthusiasm. I think everybody, when they start a speech, here's your $1 million gold tip for public speaking. If you could start your speech with a question, one question. I think I even encouraged Jeff to do that, and he did that. And I hope you saw the big pizzazz for starting a speech with a question really does make a difference. So it draws us in right from the very beginning of your speech. So Fitz, when you start your next speech next Monday, you literally, or the next person you meet, whether you're online or offline or in person, next time you meet a friend, at the gas station, or wherever you go, maybe you drive horses to work, or do you walk to work? I don't know. in your town over there, you got plenty of cars.
We drive. We drive.
You got drive. So I'm afraid to ask what age you started to drive over there. But so that was just a small taste of some speaker coaching of the level that they do at Toastmasters International, and here as well for the networking topics and or the meeting overall. How did we do? That's why I ask you guys to help participate by doing like and learn, which we all gave a chance to say what we liked and learned, so that helps for feedback as well for the meeting going forward. Most of it is positive, I know, but it's great to have positivity, because who wants to come back to a meeting that's not positive? So that is way past the 2-minute mark. I think I actually got to 5 minutes, but it's not an official Toastmaster meeting. It's my meeting, so I guess I could do what I want technically. And we're about at the 6:27 mark. I allowed time between 5:15 and 7. We could go early and stop for this and make it official, or we could just chit chat. I didn't turn off the live yet on my YouTube or Facebook. Do you have any last thoughts, Jeff, about the overall meeting, and or Fitz, if you want to add some comments of beyond what you liked or learned? Is there anything with the technology? Or it was pretty easy to get into the Skylerverse, right? Did you just click on the word Skylerverse in the menu, Jeff? How did you get here?
I clicked on the link that you sent me. That said join the meeting.
Join the meeting. Oh, so you saved the link. So if a new person came in and you went to omgtalk.com and you clicked on one of the links to get into the Skylerverse or Skyler.network for OMG Biz Cafe, I should ask Fitz. So you're the newest person here, and you got in. You were on the Skylar Network before. You found it from somewhere. Did you click on the word Skylerverse on the menu, Fitz?
Yeah. I clicked on Skylerverse.
Right.
Like,
So if somebody from Nigeria can do it, I'm pretty sure that anybody around the world could do it if they really want to. If they didn't click on it, they probably didn't want to be here in the first place. So thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Actually, I'm going to play a message from I think it's Tony, that I met him on an online network, and he does voiceovers before AI became popular. Check out Tony, his website, trcvoiceovers.com.
You have been listening to the OMG podcast with Paul Finkelstein. We can help you build wealth without hogging your time. Schedule a one-on-one with us. Thanks for listening. Join us again for another OMG podcast segment. Welcome to the OMG Talk podcast with Paul Finkelstein. Great advice and talk with small business owners, workaholics, and whiz-bang entrepreneurs. Here's your host, Paul Finkelstein.